Arnold Schwarzenegger walks into a boardroom. I'll start again. Arnold Schwarzenegger walks into a boardroom and he tells Boy George to listen to a quantum physicist for tips about business. Okay, that's not the start of a joke. It was actually my life a couple of years ago. I shot The Apprentice, as you've heard, and in a role that I shared with billionaire investor Warren Buffett, Jessica Alba, America's richest self-made millionaire, and Steve Ballmer, the former CEO of Microsoft. So what did a relatively unknown Brit like me have in common with these guys? Because it really wasn't the same bank balance. Well, what they did, what's got me to where I am today, and what everyone in the room can do, but few do, is we listen. And that's the secret to success. It's the trait that enables some people to succeed while other people, if they don't do it, go blindly down a rabbit hole. It's the ability to listen, to hear what it is that people want, and equip with that knowledge to be able to act and deliver it. And that's what blew me away on The Apprentice. In hindsight, I shouldn't have been surprised. Arnold Schwarzenegger has dominated 4 industries: bodybuilding, Hollywood, politics, and also property. He's made a killing there as well. And you don't get to be there without listening to what contest judges want, what cinema audiences want, as well as what voters want. And watching him on set, listening to what was working and what wasn't working, because what you don't often see from the edited show is that there really is a debate, which I've personally found quite cool, who should we fire? And he really did sit there and listen to the rest of the team. And then he'd gather information, and equipped with that knowledge, he'd act. And that's what you want from a leader. You want someone that listens and can therefore be decisive with that information. Because the world's changed. The balance of power has shifted. That old way of working, of sitting in an ivory tower, financial services do this quite a bit, sitting in an ivory tower and thinking of a really clever product to sell, it's not working. That's not the way that it's working anymore. Just like having finance shrouded in mystery and jargon and acronyms so that we all sound smart and no one else knows what's going on, that's not working. Who's more powerful than the CEO? And this is a quote from the founder of Walmart, Sam Walton. Who's more powerful than the CEO? It's the customer. Because they can fire everyone from the chairman all the way down just by shopping somewhere else. So you have to listen to what it is that people want. But there's good news. We've got access like never before to this information. It's quantifiable, we can collect it, and therefore, equipped with that knowledge, we know what people want before we actually build anything. And I did that at Moola. So Moola, it's an online investment service to help people's financial well-being, equipped with the right information, engaging content, and also help them put their money to work. And what we did was we left our egos at the door. There were ideas that we were really excited about, that made logical sense, that were completely ripped to shreds. And gamification, automation, these were the buzzwords. No one wants to speak to anyone. They want a fully automated process. We were schooled. Because actually, something that's fully automated people didn't feel comfortable with. What actually people were looking for is what things that we thought were fun, people may find confusing. They actually want an enjoyable experience. They want to know they can speak to someone. They want control. They want to be empowered. They want an enhanced experience. So if you ever meet my friends or family, they'll tell you, I quite like being right, I don't like being wrong. But what I found out through this whole process is I'm far more comfortable being wrong and actually building what people want than trying to stick to my ego and think and build what I think people want instead. And that's the beauty, that's that magic and that nugget of information that other people don't have, that competitive advantage if you identify something that's a little bit counterintuitive and counterintuitive to what you believe people would want. And it has a snowball effect. Because when I start off Moola, you start off a little bit insecure. You think you've got a good idea, you think you've got a business, is it going to work, etc. But it's a virtuous circle because the more I listened, the more I learned. The more I learned, the better the service got. And therefore, I can stand here today and be fully proud of the service that we built. So what's been the catalyst for change? Why is it that people haven't been listening? How do we know that? Well, first of all, we start with the financial crisis. That shattered people's trust in experts. They were sold products that they just didn't understand. Secondly, we move on to Brexit. Brexit showed there's a growing amount of people that are just disenfranchised, who feel like they're left behind, they don't have control over their lives. And then you'd only have to look over the pond in the US to just see a move away from traditional finance towards people that they feel like could implement change. And it's interesting because, again, giving you a bit of a nugget here, we heard this from our customers. So when we started off with the website, we'd have images of London. Straight away, we were told, because you think London, it's inspiring, it's where dreams come true, gives credibility to the service. And instead, people said, well, are you secretly part of a bank? We don't trust the banks. Are you, I can't afford a place in London. This is actually alienating. And therefore, London was no longer seen as a place that dreams could come true. They needed more than that. Because what people want is people want to take back control. And money is the first area that they feel this most acutely. And you think about it, it happens in people's everyday lives. You go and you fill up your grocery basket. You go and fill up your car, and it's just costing more and more. Families are getting to the end of each month, and they're saying, where's my hard-earned salary really gone? And they're asking for help. So we did some research. We analysed 18 million discussions that have been going on online about money over the last year. And we found that half of the conversations were just requests for help. Where do I get started? How much do I invest? Where do I go? How do I afford my children's education? How can I just be smarter? How can I sleep well at night? What do I do? And the issue is the problem is now falling at the feet of HR departments in companies who are already overstretched. Now, traditionally, you'd have a financial advisor come in, but the trouble there is that in the UK, in 2012, there was one advisor for every 2,700 people. And that problem has just got worse and worse. So the ability to access financial advice is getting harder and harder to do. And at the other end, doing it yourself, Barclays did a review and they surveyed people and they found 9 out of 10 people thought they didn't have enough money to be able to invest in an ISA, an individual savings account. They didn't understand what that was. They thought they needed £20,000 rather than that being the upper limit. So again, quite a lot of uncertainty around that. And it's not people's fault. In finance, we have shrouded it in mystery and jargon. And we've only had 2 routes. You either do it yourself or you go and find somebody that'll do it for you. But what we're now seeing with technology, the beauty, the emergence of a third way. What about having somebody that will do it with you? So the British Banking Association has estimated that 90% of all banking transactions are going to be carried out either online or a smartphone by 2020, which is really not that far away anymore. So why is this? It's because people want to feel empowered. They want control. They want help. They want guidance. But they also want an ability to be able to improve their lives themselves. And if you listen carefully, it's interesting. You're hearing the government make the same noises. There's a move away from the nanny state and actually move towards people having to take responsibility themselves and employers having to step up to help them. And benefits at the same time are changing. So employees are much more interested, I find this fascinating, much more interested in lifestyle benefits. They're interested in flexible working. They're now, which is a problem for the government, they're interested in savings in lieu of a pension. They want the flexibility. And these are things that are surprisingly highly valued. Barclays found that half of employees are looking for a way to be able to manage their finances. And a fifth are Barclays found that half employees are worrying about their finances, and they found that 1 out of every 5 are losing sleep over it. And this has gone beyond debt. The CIPD also, I'm going to overwhelm you with a few statistics here, but it kind of hones it in. The CIPD found that 58% of employees face barriers to just manage their money as well as they'd like. And for employers, 1 out of every 5 want financial guidance. They want it from you. They want it from their employer. But as an industry, we've really struggled to make money engaging, and that's, as I said, personally my passion and the reason that we started up Moola. It's much more simple to ask people to just cut back to be able to start saving money, but you're still leaving them with the issue of what do they do with the little bit of money that they have actually saved. They want to do something with and put it to work. So this is why we think there's a fantastic opportunity at the moment, and we're excited about the future. Because the beauty of financial well-being is that it is a lifestyle benefit. You're taking a life event and turning a really short-term need into a long-term reward. And the reason is that usually a life event is the thing that triggers people to think about money. It's the time when they focus on a longer-term goal. So I had that. So when I came back from university, for example, and I got my first job, that's when I started to think about a property, a long-term goal, but I felt an urgent need for it. When I had my first child, same thing. How am I going to, look down at when Dexter was born, how am I going to afford to send him to university? Again, long-term goal I now absolutely want to work towards. And what it is it's basically treating money and saying what money actually does is it provides people with security, with freedom, the ability to sleep well at night, and also maintain a lifestyle that they want. And that makes managing money a lot more appealing. And it's also the way to achieve this goal is simple too. Coaching, setting aside payroll, and also growing your savings. And the good news is it is a win for all as well. It's also a win for the company. Because 1 in 4 employees have admitted that financial worries have impacted their ability to do their job. And also, if financial well-being is ignored altogether, again, a report from Barclays, they said that it could hit profitability by 4%. Whereas, flip it around, the opportunity is that a culture of well-being and engagement, it attracts the leaders of tomorrow, it increases take-up rates of benefits, and long-term goals, if you think about it, you have employees that are building their way to a property, they're building their way to their children's education. The long-term goal aids retention as well, so it offers a compelling return on investment. So imagine being able to offer a benefit that exceeds expectations, that actually makes a tangible difference to the lives of your employees and also helps to improve company profitability while you do so. So counterintuitive to popular belief, people are actually telling us what they want. What we need to do is we need to listen, we need to work together to solve that problem and enhance people's experience and ultimately their lives. Interestingly, listening it's the secret to success. So Schwarzenegger met with Warren Buffett, Jessica Alba, Steve Ballmer and me, and what do we all have in common? We listen. Think about what you can achieve by listening more, and at Moola, we're here to help. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gemma. If there are any questions, we can bring up Slido if there's any questions for you. Just a reminder there, if you log into slido.com and submit any questions.
I mean, if people want my advice on how to stick to a New Year's resolution, I don't know if I can do that, but I can try.
Why Moola?
Oh, why Moola, the name? It's slang for money. So basically, it's a good question. I really wanted to have a name that would stand out. My money, my investment. I'm going to be careful. I don't want to diss anybody else that's out there. But I just thought we wanted to show that we're offering something different. So what we wanted to do is marry up 2 things. Have a name that would stand out, be associated instantly with money, so it's slang for money, be a little bit more relatable to show that we are here to make money engaging. And then also we just were very careful about the branding around it because you want to be different, but you also need to have credibility. And ultimately, the fact that we're fully FCA authorised and the colours that we chose and the fonts that we choose, again, it's to make sure, and obviously the management team and the company and the service, is to instill trust. So it's getting that balance right between standing out and being different, but also, it is people's money and showing that we're trustworthy at the same time.
Excellent, thank you very much. Well, if you have any, there you go.
Okay.
What made you make the leap from quantum physics to finances?
I know, it's a good question. It's interesting because if I said I studied maths and I went into finance, everybody would say, well, absolutely, that makes sense. But physics is applied maths, it's problem solving. So ultimately, the skills I learnt there are absolutely applicable to, why do financial markets move the way they do? How can we solve people's problems? You need that in business, you need that in finance. Quantum physics, the reason I love quantum physics is it also makes you challenge the norms. You've got Schrodinger's, I'm going to go on a bit of a rant here, but you've got Schrodinger's cat, this thought experiment where basically the cat is alive and dead until you look at it. And, it really, like I said, challenges your preconceptions. And in finance, where you have very instilled economic theories that people tend to follow as a herd, I just thought there'd be value add in looking at things slightly differently outside the box. And then I guess finally, I made the leap because I wanted to have a bit bigger impact. I thought I've learned good skills. I'm passionate about people learning the sciences, like the STEM subjects, and I'm passionate about showing that if you learn those subjects, they're applicable to so many different industries. And physics going into technology, going into finance and business, kind of made sense.
How do you work with businesses to help people help people change their money habits, help people save and change their money habits?
Yeah. So what I find really interesting, if we look at the environment, we've got really, really low interest rates and we've got the rising cost of living. So actually there's no longer the need, as you would have a few years ago, to try and encourage people to start thinking, but people know they need to change their habits. I think I think that's just kind of behind the scenes in terms of the question. The good news is people now know they need to do more with their money, so we don't need to fight that battle. So they know they need to do something, they just are looking for help. And actually it's less about a behavioural shift, it's more about education. So the reason why people tend to shy away from it is the preconception of, well, it's finance, it's really confusing, I don't understand it, it's complicated. And therefore, so at Moola, we have, the way we work with businesses, for example, is the first thing we do is we go in and we do a financial wellbeing like workshop and presentation. And we just go in and present, here are some home truths about money. Let's put up, what does gambling mean? Because people think investing is gambling. Well, gambling, if you gamble wrong, 100% you will lose all your money. With investing, yes, some years it'll go down, absolutely, but over the longer term, there are different ways to invest. So we first of all start off by actually, as I said, it's all about education. Can we go in, make finance relatable, dispel some of the myths, get them comfortable with that? So we have that either physically, that we do for employers, so that's, I guess, the benefit of working with businesses, is we'll come in personally and present. But also part of the Moola service is we have a dedicated knowledge centre as well. So people can come along, because, some people get a bit, embarrassed, and it gives people the ability in their free time. What's a stock? What's just back to basics. What's risk? When's the best time to invest? And we have short videos on that as well. We also, it's quite cringing, but if ever something happens in the news, like yesterday, the Mark Carney's come out saying he's going to move how we measure inflation. Actually, that's going to affect your savings. It's also, if you're in debt, it's also going to affect your borrowings. So, we shoot videos in back of cabs or whatever it is, constantly getting people the information they need. So we talk about behaviour. First of all, it's, as I said, people know they need to do something with their money, and there's already a huge amount of pent-up demand. So we don't need to encourage people to save and invest. They know they need to do it. It's more about giving them the guidance without doing it for them, giving them the guidance to make smarter decisions themselves.
I think if we do one more, what kind of things can individuals do when taking the first step to improving financial well-being?
I mean, it's about the education. It's about empowering people with the knowledge to make smarter decisions. So, as we said, it used to be, you'd say to somebody, well, you need to go to an online broker and do it yourself, and that'd be quite scary. Or you need to go and find yourself a financial advisor. Whereas now the first step is go to a website. I mean, the beauty about, for example, our service is you can actually go the whole way through it without committing anything. So people can actually go through, can do a personality test. What's your investor personality? What is a portfolio? They can drill down in things, and they can learn and get comfortable before they ever have to do anything. So I think the first step is telling people to take that first step and just starting to learn more.
Okay, perfect. So we'll get answers to the rest of the questions and any more that you submit throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
One last question for me. When's the new show on Channel 4?
It's coming out in the next, we'll see, a couple of months or so.
Okay.
But I was also going to say, actually, if you don't catch me, there's also Camilla and Matt and Georgia. Do you want to wave your hands? They're also there if you also want to ask any questions about Moola as well. We're around all day, so thank you.
Perfect. Gemma Godfrey, thank you very much.